very warm good morning to all of you. Once again, I welcome you all to this walk and talk show under Niche Area of Excellence, funded by Indian Council of Agriculture Research. And we are fortunate to have with us Dr. Shaily Praveen ma'am, renowned biochemist and head division of biochemistry, Indian Agriculture Research Institute. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
So today we are going to unfold the story of Hallur. So madam, now floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Ranjan. Thank you for inviting me and to giving me a chance to brief about the product which we have developed, Hallur, at Division of Biochemistry. So as you can very well see the lush green fields of Bajra, so it is good to talk around the background of Bajra fields. So that I will brief you about the history of Bajra, and if you go back to the Neolithic age, so if you just see the literature, archaeological survey demonstrate that there is a place called Hallur, which is in the Haveri district of Karnataka, and the archaeological events suggest that during that time also, that is roughly 12,000 years ago, so even that time the people take Bajra as one of their staple crops. So we do not know the nutritive value, whether they have studied or there were documents or they were lost in between, but they considered Bajra as one of the staple crops. In between there are several things came, like you all know that we have totally shifted to wheat and rice module, and at present we have all our staple crop as wheat and rice. But last 2-3 years the millets, which earlier were taken as coarse grain, and people don't reject these grains for the no value, that these are considered as no value grains, but because of the initiatives of Government of India, they are now labeled as nutri cereals. So you can understand why they are labeled as nutri cereals. So there is a nutrition, full nutrition in these cereals, and there are 9 nutri cereals. And the most important nutri cereal is our pearl millet. And now, why pearl millet? Why we are focusing on pearl millet? So you all know that in Indian condition, anemia is one of the major problems. It is prevalent both in men and women, but in women it is more. And this pearl millet is full of iron.
Oh.
So if you consume pearl millet in a day, 100 gram of pearl millet, your daily requirement of iron is fulfilled.
Okay.
So there is an initiative by Government of India, Anemia Mukt Bharat. Again, if you have to go by that Anemia Mukt Bharat, pearl millet is the best choice. The another good feature of this pearl millet is it is full of zinc.
Okay. And
zinc is important for developing your immunity. So nowadays you all know that we are going through a very rough phase of this pandemic, and we all know that immunity boosters, several immunity boosters are there in the market, but this is our natural immunity booster. It is full of zinc. So iron and zinc are the 2 important factors first that makes Bajra or pearl millet unique.
So madam, why then it is not popular, or like why we are putting thrust now?
Yeah, that is a very valid point you are raising. I am coming to that point, but beside iron and zinc, just I want to focus 2 more things. One is it is rich in protein also. And its protein content is just double the protein content of wheat.
Okay.
So if you are consuming a wheat chapati and a bajra chapati, you are consuming 2 times the protein content.
In case of pearl millet.
In case of pearl millet chapati. So that is another advantage of pearl millet. And third is the kind of carbohydrate it has. It has a very different kind of carbohydrate, which on hydrolysis is not giving you free sugars immediately. So it is having a good fiber content as compared to wheat. So you also know that in India, type 2 diabetes is very prevalent. And throughout the country, many people are suffering from this disease. And even right from the child stage, if somebody is having a diabetes, so you can imagine a medical load of say 60 years or 70 years that person has to take drugs to manage diabetes. Again, I am telling you, this our pearl millet can manage diabetes also. It has a very low glycemic potential, and if you consume bajra as compared to your wheat and rice, this is giving you very less sugar.
Okay, so recommendation is for diabetic
people also, this is a very good choice. Okay. The other thing which we are facing nowadays, both in urban and rural area, is the obesity. So obesity is also like a pandemic, and throughout globally it is a problem, and that is also for to control obesity also. This is again a good crop because it is having a lot of fiber content and it not gives you glucose immediately. Now this is related to carbohydrate and protein. Yes. The third thing which I am going to talk about, the lipids. Okay. So this is the only cereal which is having 5 to 7% lipids. Yes. So one way it is good that you are getting lipids in your diet once you are consuming pearl millet, and 70% of that lipid is consist of polyunsaturated fatty acids, PUFA, which is a desirable trait for your health and for your heart. So that is all good point related to pearl millet. Now I am coming back to your question. You asked that when the pearl millet is have a punch of everything, iron, zinc, good carbohydrate, double the protein and lipid, why it is not popular and why we are working nowadays to make it popular. Exactly. So the question is, first thing is, because of the lipids, it gets rancid very easily. So there are several enzymes present, and once you mill and make a flour of pearl millet, it becomes rancid within 7 to 10 days. So you cannot keep that flour for a longer period like you are doing it for wheat. So that is the advantage in wheat. You can store the wheat flour for 1 month, 3 months, or even in supermarket you are getting up to 6 months. But in case of pearl millet, that advantage we do not have because of the presence of lipid. So first our objective, the research we initiated at Division of Biochemistry, that how to remove this rancidity part. We tried several things and how to lower down the rancidity by lowering the enzyme activities which are related to pearl millet, and we come up with a very, very simple solutions. The simplest solution is that if you make a sprout of pearl millet, and if you dry those sprout and then make a flour, the shelf life of the pearl millet can be extended up to 3 years. And that is really a very good and simple idea. No machines are required and no infrastructure, big infrastructure required. Only thing is you have to make a sprout, and while making a sprout, certain enzymes are consumed during the process of sprouting, and they are not available to go for the oxidation of lipids. Hence you can very easily control the rancidity.
What are those enzymes, ma'am?
Yeah, it's a good question you asked. Since lipid is present, first it is hydrolyzed into fatty acids. So the first enzyme which is prevalent is lipase. So lipase enzyme convert lipid into fatty acids. And then these fatty acids, when they are freely available, they are oxidized into various oxidative products. And that makes rancidity. That's make bitter taste also. So those enzymes are like lipoxygenases, peroxidases, polyphenol oxidases. There are 4 different enzymes, 1 lipase and 3 these enzymes involved in oxidation. So if somehow you can control the activity of these enzymes, because we don't want to lose lipid because it is of good quality, why to lose it? Initially people suggested that you remove the outer color layer of the pearl millet so that the lipid can be removed and the rancidity can be solved. But in that case you are losing a good quality lipid, and iron and zinc is also in the outer layer. So once you remove the outer layer, you are just compromising on the iron and zinc quantity also. So that is not a very good idea. So that is what we thought, it is better to lower down the enzyme activities. So there are several methods like heat treatment, hydro treatments, infrared treatments, that is also standardized in our lab. And if somebody wants to go for a large scale treatment, then we have hydrothermal treatments.
Okay.
But for MSME level, if somebody wants to do at a smaller level, sprouting is the best.
So what is this hydrothermal treatment, ma'am?
Hydrothermal treatment, again, as I told you, that somehow we have to denature enzymes. So if you give some treatment in the form of a steam. So this is a hydro, you have to soak it, then you have to give some thermal treatment in the form of steam, and then you want quick drying. Why you want to give quick drying? Because once you expose more to the environmental oxygen, then the oxidation is more. So quick drying can be done in near infrared rays. So it is HT, hydrothermal, and near infrared rays treatment, which makes your floor away from rancidity. So that is also a process we standardize in Division of Biochemistry, and this is ready for, we have applied for a patent, and now it is ready to be commercialized at the big scale.
And what is the response of farmers now?
Yeah, every time, because for pearl millet farmers, they always feel that their crop is not getting a due acknowledgement because people are not buying it because of this reason. But if some industry is coming forward to have this HT-NIR treatment available, then large scale we can make a floor free from rancidity.
Okay.
But if somebody wants to do it at the smaller scale, MSME level, then the same thing can be achieved by sprouting process. So that is what the farmers is now looking forward, that if these two treatments come for in the commercial level, then definitely Bajra flour is going to pick up the importance. So that is one aspect of rancidity which makes Bajra more popular. The other aspect which I want to share here is that you are aware that Bajra is not going to be used in many preparations. You just see,
because of low keeping quality.
First is low keeping quality. Second is you cannot make it.
Yeah, exactly.
You can only depend on making chapatis. And that too with a great difficulty. Very few women can have a capacity to make chapatis with hand because the dough quality making is very poor in Bajra. So that is one area we thought that if we have to make popular our pearl millet, then we should have something to improve upon the dough quality. So as you are aware, why wheat is so popular throughout the globe? The only reason is that it contains a very important protein called as gluten protein. And gluten protein makes the dough of wheat very viscoelastic. So all your baking products, whether it is bread, cake, muffins, your naan, even your pizza base, they all are possible because of the presence of this gluten protein in wheat. So if somehow we are able to take this gluten protein from wheat and try to regenerate in Bajra, all these preparation can be done with Bajra also.
So it means Bajra doesn't have this protein, or?
Yes, that's right. Bajra lack this protein, and because of that we cannot prepare anything, only the chapati, that too with a great difficulty. So that's what we thought, and we developed a process by which we had extracted gluten protein from wheat in its very regenerative form. This we called as vital wheat gluten. And this vital wheat gluten, when we are able to regenerate in a Bajra flour, the Bajra flour dough is as good as your wheat flour dough. And you can make chapatis, you can make puris, you can bake it, you can make muffins, cake, noodles even. So you can make any preparation which you feel you are doing it with wheat, you can do it with Bajra now. So this is a product which we developed at Biochemistry Division, and interestingly, because of its significance related to Neolithic times, we named it as Hallur. So Hallur is a kind of a name which we have given, and this is having a Bajra flour with all the good nutrition of bajra, good iron, zinc, protein, carbohydrate and lipids, plus the addition of a wheat protein gluten.
Okay.
So wheat protein gluten not only gives a viscoelasticity to the dough, but it also add protein value to the bajra also. So that is the interesting feature, and this is where we are now looking forward to license this technology, know-how of this technology to different players in this bajra market. And once these kind of a easy preparation of bajra with gluten is available in the market, I am quite sure that bajra farmers, we can see the smile on the farmers of which grows bajra.
So madam, this Halloor, so what is the status of keeping quality now after adding?
Okay, again very interesting point. Keeping quality is enhanced up to 1 month.
Okay.
At the moment, whatever, when we are adding gluten, it not only makes a good dough, but the taste of the chapati is also enhanced because of the gluten network. So gluten protein is consist of two proteins, gliadin and glutenin, and they make a kind of a network. And between this network, different other macromolecules like your starch, protein, lipids, they integrate itself and give a kind of a network of composite network. And because of this development of this network, there is enhancement in the taste also in the chapati. And the shelf life also, we checked after adding gluten, up to 1 month it is really not going worsen. So rancidity parameters, we had developed a rancidity matrix by which we can classify this is a good quality, medium quality or a bad quality, and we have given the color shade also like green, orange and red. So within 1 month also, this kind of pearl millet flour where we are regenerating gluten is reaching up to orange level only, not the red one.
Not red.
But if we are using a sprouted pearl millet, then the keeping quality is up to 3 months.
Okay.
Even after 3 months, it is in the green zone, not getting red.
Okay, so madam, now Halloor is one of the popular product. So suppose if some farmers want this technology or wants this Halloor product, so where they should approach?
That's an important area you want to flag. Since this is a know-how developed at IARI and through the ZTM unit of our IARI, we are now in the process of licensing this technology. Anyone, and very nominal rate. Because our purpose is that to popularize this technology so that many people will get the advantage of this gluten regenerated pearl millet flour. So very soon, maybe next 10 to 15 days, this licensing process is over, and whosoever, any MSME level industry or even our farmers, if they want to come up and develop a commercial product of their bajra, then they can come and take this licensing from IRI at a very nominal cost and start making their own Halloor.
Okay. So madam, then what is the benefit cost ratio of this technology, which is very popular nowadays?
Yes, that is a true point. Like bajra flour, if you go by the MSP, sometimes as compared to the MSP levels of bajra, 1800 or up to 2100 per quintal is the rate. So roughly you will get a bajra of 20 rupees a kg. So if you go for the milling losses and everything, so you will get a bajra flour of say 20 to 25 rupees. But if you add gluten to it, and then the total cost per kg will be around 50. So 50 rupees a kg is a kind of a pearl millet flour, Halloor flour you will get, which you can use it for any purpose.
Okay.
That is the importance, and that is not only in terms of taste, but daily you are improving your nutrition.
Yeah, exactly. So I think so now you all will agree that division of biochemistry is working in a very aggressive mode to develop farmer-friendly technology to enhance or to double the income of the farmer. And Halloor is one of the feather in the cap. So thank you, ma'am, for sharing such a informative information on Halloor and other technology which Division of Biochemistry they have developed. And let me tell you that ma'am, she is also project investigator of niche area of excellence, which is one of the dedicated or promising project funded by Indian Council Agriculture Research. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
It's my pleasure.